If there was any one man who demonstrated the anger, the struggle, and the beliefs of African Americans in the 1960s, that man was Malcolm X. The African American culture movement of the 1920s lost momentum in the 1930s because of worldwide economic depression. The Great Depression helped to divert attention from cultural to economic matters. Even before the stock market crash of 1929, unemployment and poverty among blacks was exceptionally high. It was under these difficult conditions that Malcolm X experienced his youth in the South. Malcolm X's childhood taught him many viewpoints that ultimately led to many claims to fame and left a memorable legacy. Malcolm's childhood is what one would expect from an African American in the 1960s. He grew up in a very large family that included 8 children. His father hunted rabbits to sell to the white people for money, and his mother stayed home to take care of all the children. Several times when he was young, his family was forced to relocate due to the racist groups that would burn or run them out of their home, like the Ku Klux Klan. One of these groups, called the Black Legion, killed his father by tying him to the railroad tracks. By not receiving beneficiary from his father's income, Malcolm's family was forced to get government help and food. Applying for this type of assistance brought many white social workers into their home. Without family discipline and restrictions, he often could be found wandering the streets of Omaha, Nebraska. Malcolm began to steal food for his family when finally he was caught. The police did not make a big deal about it because it was his first offense. The social workers, however, began investigating his family even more intensely and used this incident against the family. They reported that Malcolm's mother could not take proper care of her children and recommended that they be split up and placed in different foster homes. Malcolm X was a very controversial character in his time. He spent his whole life contributing to African American civil rights and used his Islamic religion and radical viewpoints to promote the advancement of his race and to become one of the leading activists for civil rights. Malcolm X made the Hajj, the traditional Muslim pilgrimage to Mecca, Saudi Arabia, during which he converted to traditional Islam. The journey proved to be both a political and spiritual turning point in his life. He learned to place the American civil rights movement within the context of a global anti-colonial struggle, embracing socialism and Pan-Africanism. After his epiphany at Mecca, Malcolm X returned to the United States, less angry and more optimistic about the prospects for peaceful resolution to America's race problems. In the immediate aftermath of Malcolm X's death on February 21, 1965, commentators criticized him as a violent rabble-rouser. However, Malcolm X's legacy as a civil rights hero was cemented by the publication in 1965 of the autobiography of Malcolm X, as told to Alex Haley. Perhaps Malcolm X's greatest contribution to society was underscoring the value of a truly free populace by demonstrating the great lengths to which human beings will go to secure their freedom. Malcolm was a man that came from nothing to become one of the most influential and controversial men in the history of our nation. Malcolm X was a very strong advocate for the equality of African Americans in the United States. Later in his life, he became a strong advocate for the rights of all people, no matter the color of their skin. Malcolm stood up for what he believed in, regardless of who tried to fight the message he was trying to spread to the world. He constantly faced adversity, including drugs, prison, bad press, death threats, and hatred, yet he continued to tell his message to anyone who would hear it.